On broadcast networks, ISIS elects a designated intermediate system for each level with the default priority being 64 for both levels. If the priority is 0, the router is not eligible to be elected as a designated router. The router with the higher priority value becomes a designated intermediate system. In the event of a tie, the router with the highest MAC address, which is also the subnetwork point of attachment, wins the election. The reason for the DIS on broadcast networks is rather than each router advertising an adjacency with every other router connected to the LAN, the network itself is considered as a virtual router, a pseudonode. Each router, including the designated router, advertises a single link to the pseudonode. The designated intermediate system also advertises, as the representative of the pseudonode, a link to all of the attached routers. But unlike OSPF, no backup designated router is elected. If the IS-to-IS designated intermediate system fails, a new DIS is elected, and if a new router with a higher priority or an equal priority and a higher MAC address, SNMPA, comes online, it becomes the new DIS. We're going to be following the same topology as in the animation, except we will only be using R1, R2 and R3. R4 and R5 will be disabled. And I currently have R1, R2 and R3 open, but I don't have any configuration on them in regards to IS-to-IS. So let's do that now. Family ISO. And let's put the NSAP address, top edit, interface, loopback 0.0. Set family ISO address as 49.001. Make it all ones. Oh. Let's commit that. And let's do the same for, we also need to advertise it. So top edit, protocols, ISIS. We'll make sure that everything is just in a level 1. So we'll disable level 2, set disable level 2. What are they looking for after that? Set disable. For protocols, set disable level 2. What are they looking for? Oh, the commands are the wrong way around, so maybe it's set level 2 disable. Yeah, and then say set interfaces GE000.0. And also we're going to set the loopback, set interface loopback 0.0 and commit. And what I'm actually going to do before I continue, we should be able to determine which one of these 3 devices will be the DIS, because we know that by default, if we don't set the priority, and the default priority is 64, that the interface with the highest MAC address should become the DIS. So let's just determine that. So run show interface GE000. Our MAC address here is this 0058671CB00. So let's keep that in mind. Actually, let's do the same here. Show interface GE000. 5400, and this one is CB, I think. 00058671. 00058671. So CB is higher than 54. So at the moment, R1 is winning. Let's have a look at R3. Show interfaces GE00/0. Oh, one too much, sorry. and we've got 12. So in this scenario, we're pretty sure that if the animation is correct, that R1 will become our designated router after we finish our ISIS configuration. So let's continue. We'll do the same on R2. Set interface GE00.0, family of ISO. And then let's advertise it into ISIS. Set level to disable. And then finally, let's do that on R3. Level to disable. We're expecting router 1 to be the disk, so let's say run show ISIS adjacency. I can't see which one's the disk from here. So let's run a run. I wonder why R2 is not up yet. So run show ISIS interface. Maybe that will help us out. Yes. And R1, because it's got this 02 on the end, that also means that that's the pseudonode of this, but it's under the level 1 DR, and R1 has become the designated intermediate system, and that's because it had the higher MAC address. Right, let's see if R2 has come up yet. And show ISIS adjacency. Yeah, and R2 is up. So that went to plan. Let's also see if we can find what the default priority is. If I do a run show ISIS, let's have a look. Which one would show us? I would have thought it would have been in the adjacency, to be honest. Let's have a look at overview. See if we can see it here. Doesn't show me anything about the priorities here from what I can see. It's not in the adjacency. Adjacency detail. Here we go. And we can see that the priority is 64. So because they will all have the same priorities, this is where the MAC address comes into play. But what we find is, unlike OSPF, ISIS has preemption. So if I was to change the priorities on one of the other devices, that should automatically take over as the designated intermediate system. And we're going to do it here. We're going to try and change the priority here on R3 and see if that takes the role of the designated router. Let's just double check again. Run show ISIS interface. We currently see that R1 is the disk. If we say edit interface GE000.0 priority, maybe it's level 1 priority, level 1. Okay, let's not say edit then. Let's say set interface GE000.0. Is there a priority command here? No. Level 1 priority. And all we have to do is make it 1 higher than 64, so let's make it 65. Let's commit that. Run show ISIS adjacency. Run show ISIS interface. And we can see that R3 has now taken over as the disk. And what we're going to do, we're going to make now R2 ineligible to be the designated intermediate system. So if we were to say let me say set interface GE00.0 level 1 priority 0, and if we were to commit this, even if R3 and R1 went down, R2 would never be the designated intermediate system for this multi-access segment. And obviously, this is only on broadcast networks. If you wanted to avoid all of this, you could just make the interfaces point to point. But to just check the priority again, we say run show ISIS adjacency detail. And we can see that R2 is not even here. It's not eligible. It doesn't even have a priority or anything set. We can't get any details for it because it is not eligible to become the designated intermediate system. Alright, that's it for this video. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next one.